You're tuned into the Visibility Strategy live stream with Amy Nubson and Christina Vidovich, where strategy meets storytelling and confidence takes the spotlight. Join us every Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern as we help you set sail on your visibility journey. Join us every 9 a.m.-ish Eastern. Here we are. Hello, Amy. Good morning.
Good morning. It's a lovely morning. It's sunny and beautiful, and we get to talk about visibility. So how fun is that? And I mean, the fun thing about visibility is you never know where it's going to show up. Right? But a lot of times we can control our visibility. And so many people get really concerned about it. I did it in my past too, like, oh my God, I can't show up today. My voice is kind of scratchy. I got a little bit of a cold. And I'm like, in the past, I would have been like, Christina, I can't come on. I don't feel or sound great. But now I can because I feel like, nope, what I have to say matters more than a scratchy voice, right? So we can control how we show up. And even if we're not in a perfect space, it's who we are and our personalities need to shine through.
Absolutely. And I love that because, it's like those moments like, hey, I can pull it together for 20 minutes. But it's part of what we talk about, the real side, the human side, that it's okay. And people are going to be forgiving of going, you know what? And it's what I love about this idea of perfection. Perfection is the moment. This is perfection. The ahs, the ums, the pauses, the scratchy throats, the oops, we didn't start exactly on time. Who's counting? There's no rule book that says it has to be exactly like this all the time. Just like showing up on a Zoom call. It's okay to be a few minutes late. We understand you might be on another Zoom call. You might be getting out of your car, rushing into the house or into the space that you have a meeting. It's okay. We can forgive those moments and give ourselves, as Amy has taught me a year ago or so, the word grace. We can give ourselves that grace.
Yeah, and when we do, we show up fully when we are a little bit off, right? Even though I may not be the perfect sounding today, I'm like, still, I'm excited to be here and have this conversation. That's how we can show up. And even if you are a little bit late, being flustered and then taking 20 minutes to apologize for it, you've just lost the window. And now, now you might have irritated the person instead of saying, oh, so sorry. Thank you for waiting for me. I really appreciate it. How are you doing today? Or however you start your conversation, jump into it.
Yes.
We've all missed those calls because our calendar somehow, for some reason, decided to eliminate that meeting. And if you're like me, if it's not on my calendar, I don't show up. And I've forgiven others for doing the same thing to me. They're like, I'm so sorry. I had no idea we had a call. I'm like, I get it. Technology isn't always perfect.
Yes, or one of my favorites, where we're sitting on 2 different calls on the same Zoom because it gave out 2 different numbers.
Right. Exactly. You're like, which room are you in? I don't know. What room are you in? Like you do that whole thing. Or my favorite, like my mics will switch and they're like, I can't hear you. I'm like, oh, I think it's you. No, it's me. No, it's you. Whose sound isn't working? Like, I feel like that's a new game today. So those things happen, but the idea is to step out of that right away as fast as you can and re-engage.
Yes, yes, and I love what you said. It's the simple apology. Make the apology and move on, because that, I think, is where sometimes the credibility can land too, of like if you keep, it's like, oh, now you're giving too much. This let's not go there. Let's just move on. Let's get to our point. We're time. So big deal. We lost 5 minutes. We would have just chit chatted anyway. Let's go ahead and get to the meat of why we're here and show up with that confidence. Regardless, yes, we know things happen. Again, give yourself that grace so that you can move forward into that confidence, because there's nothing more than it's like, oh, oh, oh. It's just like, you know what I'm saying.
Exactly. And when you're off, then you're off. And then you're not listening.
Yes,
That's
yes,
the other thing. When you're off, you don't hear what the other person is saying, so you kind of have an awkward conversation, and then you've lost every possibility that might have opened up that door that day. I've had amazing conversations with people who have missed a meeting, or I've missed a meeting because the calendar dropped our meetings, right? And I'm like, I'm so grateful I didn't write them off because this was an amazing conversation and it led to something.
yes,
So you don't know.
yes.
And I always assume the best in people. Okay,
Right.
they're 5 minutes late, they're running late because they're on a call, they're trying to get off, that person doesn't stop talking, and you're like, "I gotta go, but how do I get them to stop?" Like, there's a lot that goes on in these calls, and our schedules get kinda complicated.
Yeah, yeah.
So assume the best in people.
Exactly, because it's the appearance that we're showing up with next that
Yes.
really counts. And I love this because one of these lovely ladies that I know, Paulina Lopez, she actually said, "Okay, we're going to sit down. Tell us about you. Don't tell us where you're from. Don't tell us how you got into the room. Tell us about you now." And I think that's a beautiful place. It's just like, okay, again, we've showed up. We're here now. Let's be in this moment. Let's take full advantage because all of us, our time is precious. Whether we're in that room or somebody's listening to this conversation that we're having right now later, we want to make sure that we are giving value.
Always. The value is what matters. Right? It's not wasting somebody's time, it's showing up fully, it's actively listening, which is something as a person who has ADD, I had to learn how to actively listen because my mind went so fast that I was like always constantly 5 steps ahead of the conversation. I'm like, "Wait, wait, wait. Slow down and be present." So it's a skill I had to learn, and it's amazing. I watch, and it's a skill not everybody has learned, right? But once I learned it, I got to slow down and really engage with that person, and it just made my life so much better because I stopped worrying about what I was going to say or what I was going to do or how I was going to control the conversation. I just got to be in it.
Yes, yes. Well, guess what, Amy? It's time for our mid-roll dance break to invite
Yay.
everyone to our Visibility Accountability Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central. We invite you to join us. You can join us for 1 month for absolutely free. And then we have a small membership that you can join and learn about your storytelling, your social media, how to show up visibly for yourself and
Mhm.
celebrate our wins too. So here it's time for a dance break. And when we get back, we're going to talk about how our appearance shows up in our brand.
Share your story, own your name, step in the light, ignite your flame. Show up, shine out, it's time to be heard. Flip fear into power with every word. Visibility, accountability, we write a wild new legacy. Our voice, our values, our feminine.
You know what I love is you have spent a big part of your career helping people with branding. So what that looks like of going, here's where I am, here's what I want, here's the shifts that I need to make. And I love this because appearance is not only the branding itself, it's how we are showing up in the room as well. Tell
Yes.
us more about advice that you give new clients in their visibility journey and their branding.
Yeah, so when I talk about branding, I wanna know about, like, does their personality match their branding? Because you have to embrace it, right? Like, you have to live it, and especially today, like, you have to now show up with it. So your branding has to match who you are, but it also needs to be unique and interesting and attractive to the other person that you're trying to talk to, right? So there's a lot of things to go on in your as you're choosing it. I love color. Color has always been something I love color theory. I love colors. I love looking at colors. I'm strange. I love color. And so for me, when choosing my own color brands, I was like, what do I choose? And my brand is called New Fire. So I chose colors that were part of fire intentionally because I wanted to ignite the person within, right?
Yeah.
That was the whole point. So I chose those colors intentionally. I happen to love oranges, reds, blues. So it worked out great. But the thing is, I was never really embracing blue, and now I really wear it. Even at last week at a conference, Christina's like, "What's your favorite color to wear?" I'm like, "Cobalt blue," and it's never a color I never. It wasn't a color I always chose, but now I feel so comfortable in it. I feel seen in it,
Mm.
right? Purples make me feel seen. I'm wearing one today. Like I love certain colors because I feel visible in them. And you want to show up where you feel visible. If you have a color that you wear and you just feel awkward in it, don't wear it.
Yeah.
Even though somebody's like, this is the prettiest color on you. It's the confidence you show up inside it.
I love that. I love that because again, on screen versus in person, it's funny because what did I choose? I chose my pinks and my turquoises today because I love those colors and the purples. So anybody who's actually listening to this, these are the colors we're wearing today. And I absolutely noticed that right away with Amy of like, ooh, purple, because that is a beautiful, strong color. And it's interesting because with women getting visible, the colors of celebration, I think of confetti, like our screen is around us, that gold, that fun, that how do we celebrate each other, and black and white. So Amy and I were at a conference together last week. My colors all week long were black and white. You knew you were going to see Christina in black and white. She's
And the funny thing is, my wardrobe was almost all black and white, and we did not color coordinate prior to going. And we're like, like, and normally that's not my color scheme, but I felt drawn to it for that conference.
Yes, yes. And I love that idea because, look, we're in personal branding anymore, right? I mean, that's really where we've gone to. It's not just, we're our own billboards. In other words, is a great way that I can put it quickly so that people can recognize us as the brand, who we are, and what we're doing in the world is going, oh, wow, yeah, I remember you because. And that is a huge part, right? How do we stay memorable?
Right. And I remember even getting ready. I'm like, Christina, should I put my hair up or straighten it? Or should I keep it curly? And she's like, you're curly.
Yeah.
Keep your hair curly. That's who you are. And it's one of those fun things where you start to notice that people start to recognize you a certain way.
Yeah.
And it's really nice when it's part of who you embrace. Like I embraced my curly hair. When I first started in my career, I straightened my hair all the time because I was told to be a professional, you had to have straight hair.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I'm done doing that. Because I love my curly hair. And sometimes it's a little bit wonky, but that's okay. It's curly. It's what it does. Like but that's what you want to start to create. Even when I did my new headshots, they're like, what do you want to do? I'm like, but the last 2 times I'm like, I want my curly hair. I want a soft makeup. I don't want bold because that's who I am.
Yes.
I got a bold lipstick on because I do love playing with that for my headshots. But other than that, it was soft and subtle because that's what I wanted to have. It's who I show up as.
Yes. And I love this because this is definitely the female version of this conversation. And who do we serve? Ladies, women, and who runs the world, right? That's totally, you heard it, didn't you? Oh, that's why I switched it up just to make you think.
Mhm.
Uh, yeah, but it's true. We will always, no matter how much people want to throw it to the side of going, well, men don't have to worry about that. Well, they do. It's just a different way than women have to think about it. And I don't want to say worry because that's not the right word. It's think about that. It's like a conversation with this woman who someone told me, you have to get on this Zoom call with this woman. She's so connected and she has all these people and she looked like she rolled out of bed with a scrunchie on the top of her head when she showed up. That was the first impression I had. So again, if that's my first impression, it is hard to disregard our first impressions.
Yeah.
If she was running late and just literally rolled out of bed, take that 2 to 5 minutes to fix your hair before you show up. You don't have to give an excuse of, "Oh, I just rolled out of bed," because what does that make me think?
Yep, because in the most people's mind is, "Oh, they didn't prepare for me. They weren't ready for me." That's kind of the message that kinda screams is, "Oh, I wasn't important enough." Right? And
Yeah,
it's not like that was your intention, but that's the message it gives. I
exactly.
wasn't important enough for them to be ready and prepared.
Right, right, exactly, and that's what I felt like of going, "Oh," because, not that we were talking about clients, but if I were to be a client of hers, is this the attention I'm gonna get? Or is she so busy, she doesn't have time to give me the attention? So that's a two-way street right there, right? One is she's not going to give the attention because the care, or she's too busy that she doesn't have the time. So that's also an impression that we give. So that's important to think about in these little soft ways of how we are appearing to each other.
Yeah, it's the same thing about even like note taking. I always forget to tell people I'm actually taking notes, I'm looking down, but it is a kind thing to say I'm taking notes because what you're saying is really important and I want to capture it. It's one of those really polite things. I just remember things better if I write things down. So that's where it helps me. But those kind of things that we show up and we do in our actions as we're on the screen do matter.
Yeah.
It's the idea of, I watch a lot of people who talk like this the entire conversation, and you're like, where are you looking? And they look everywhere but right at you. And you can always tell, even if it's off screen and they're looking at you because it's maybe you're over here on the screen but they're looking at your picture. And I'm like, that's cool. But when they're looking like this the entire time, I'm like, what's happening?
Yeah.
Because what is their brain actually thinking? I can't tell. So be engaged with it, be comfortable, move around, engage, but still like you would in a one-to-one conversation, try to engage like that naturally.
Naturally. I love that because it's like, you know, we've gotten used to being on these calls anymore. And so, yeah, I agree with you because that's absolutely the way that I feel is I'm sitting there having a conversation as if you were actually sitting right in front of me. I love that. I absolutely love that. One of my pet peeves is when you are drinking. Okay, this is human, like,
This is a pet peeve of yours.
yeah. You know, it's like, drink that water, okay? It's like, I know it's important, but there's an etiquette to it. Even in person, you never tip the glass up straight to the bottom to the person you're talking to. You turn because it's still showing that you're paying attention to the other person. So it's a small piece of etiquette to think about to give the person the honor of, oh, we're engaged in this conversation. You didn't just get distracted because, oh, here's my coffee. Ta-ting, 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 ta-ting. Listen,
Exactly.
yeah.
There is an etiquette, right? There's an etiquette in person, there's an etiquette online. Because what it does is it's a respect.
Mhm.
That's the main thing. So even if your screen, if they're over here, I try to make it so whenever somebody's talking, it's in the middle of my screen. So I can at least get towards the middle where my camera is,
Right.
right?
Yes.
Sometimes when there's too many, you can't. And I get that. You can't really turn your head to see them like you would in person. But how we show up and our appearance is so important because we can't make that eye contact, right?
Yeah.
And in person, please make eye contact. I had to learn this too because as a Midwesterner, we always would shake hands and look down. Like for some reason, it's like ingrained in us to look down as we shake hands, and I had to learn to look up into somebody's eyes and shake their hands and smile. And it was so uncomfortable in the beginning, I was like, oh my God, I don't want to do this. But now I'm like, it's actually uncomfortable not to do it
Mhm.
because that's where that's that first impression again.
Yes.
They looked at me, they seen me. They were paying attention. Even if it was a quick, nice to meet you and you got pulled away, there was that connection.
Yes. Yes. I love this. And guess what? We're going to have more of this conversation about appearance and perception today, tonight.
Tonight. Yay. We're
7
looking forward to having you in the room, and please join us because it is such a great conversation. Everybody that comes is like, oh my God, I'm so glad I came, and this was well worth my time. And we want to be there to support you, answer your questions, engage with everybody else in the room. And it's a lot of fun, and it's just about you.
Yeah. So we'll see you there in the room. And don't forget, Minneapolis, June 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Tickets are on sale. You can join us in the room. Make eye contact with us for real.
Exactly. Give people hugs. It's awesome. Please join people in the room in Minneapolis in June. It's well worth it.
Absolutely. So thank you for joining us for this episode of Visibility Strategy. I'm Christina.
And I'm Amy.
We'll
Till next time.
Till next.
Share your story, own your name, step in the light, ignite your flame, show up, shine out, it's time to be heard, flip, feel